The world is constantly evolving.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Thomas Sotomayor, and I am live with a special guest here. Got the brother Polight in the house. What's going on, brother?
Doing good, my brother. I'm doing good. I'm here. Can you hear me clearly?
Can hear you clearly, and they can hear you clearly. So
yours seem to go in and out just a little bit.
Oh,
on my side.
Yeah, I'm hearing more of like an echo from your end. Like when I say something, I can hear myself back.
Okay.
So maybe it's the sound level. I'm not sure. Are you guys hearing it? The echo? What you said? I'm a little low.
You loud and clear to me. It was just breaking up a little.
All right, cool. All right, let's get it. Last night, there were riots, brother, and I know you're not coming for the belts today. You're going to come for the belts eventually, but right now the belts are safe. But last night, there was some crazy things, and you were one of the first people I thought about of what's going on, because literally in the last 4 days, 2 black men have met their demise at the hands of police officers. And a lot of black people right now are wondering what to do, how to view it. So I just want to get your vantage point of, number one, the Terrence Crutcher situation that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know you've been abreast of all of this stuff. So if you can, enlighten the people who look for guidance and direction. Enlighten them on what you saw and what you think of the incident with Miss Betty Shelby shooting down Mr. Terrence Crutcher in the middle of the street.
Well, it's just a testament to a problem that we have to revisit, unfortunately, because we like to have amnesia as a people. We like to believe that when one of us gets killed, hopefully it finally stops at this particular murder. And now the murders are happening so frequently that we can't evade it as much as we would like to. What it is that we should be prying into, for starters, is that if we go back to the FBI Freedom of Information Act, if we go to the records as stipulated October 6th, the FBI made aware, or at least public, that the police departments nationwide have been infiltrated by white supremacy groups, more especially in the case of the KKK. And since then, between October 2006 and October 2014, they went from 149 white supremacist groups to 1,000 plus. This is all documented by white folks, not black people.
Right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. This is not my information. This is the Freedom of Information Act, which you can type in these numbers, these statistics, and these months, these dates, and keywords, and you'll see I'm not fabricating this information.
What do you think is contributing to this uptick of these white supremacist groups?
Quite simple, the rise of consciousness in the black community. It's frightening. I mean, even black people are scared of it. You know, when you have people who highly revere themselves as drug dealers, pimps, and leaders of our own fratricide turn conscious periodically and more often than what we've been accustomed to since the inception of the hip hop movement, it is scary. Because what happens if these brothers that have been directing us to point the gun at each other should motivate us to point the gun somewhere else? Okay, I had brother Meek Mill posted one of my videos on his Instagram today. He didn't ask nobody to repost the video, but guess what? That's what people did. Randomly reposted the video. And without him saying, repost the video. Now the brother has 10 million plus followers. And then a sister from America's Top Model posted it, and another comedian posted it, and both of them have over 1 million followers. None of these people asked anybody to repost the video. And yet and still people reposted the video. I bring that up because what happens? when the people who have influence turn around and say, man, listen to this guy without even saying it, but that's how people take to it.
Yep.
Then what do we wind up in? Well, white America winds up in a crisis. So I believe that these killings, though some of them may be by accident, let's do it like this. Let's say all of these killings were not premeditated. Let's say that. What I do know is that the agenda, as far as the media is concerned, is premeditated. Because if they didn't want us to see it, we would not see it.
Well, that's what I was about to say, and I talked about on my show last night. I said a lot of that is akin to what happened in slavery days, when they take the biggest, strongest buck, as they would call them, and shoot them in front of the rest of them. Have you noticed it looks like they make sure you see these murders in plain sight to scare the community? Some
of them in high def.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So I know that there's a strategy being employed. I personally feel that they want to incite a race war. And in fact, I hate talking about a race war in past tense. I believe we already embarked upon a race war since our inception in America. I don't believe, in order for us to get ready to engage a race war, we would have to presume that we never were in one in the first place. And we will also have to presume if we were in one in the first place, that it actually stopped at one point. And I don't believe the race war has ever stopped. Maybe one of the races haven't fought back as anticipated. Nonetheless, somebody's being abused and aggressed. And of course, the number one question is, well, hey, you're not mentioning the black people that kill black people. And the reason why I have no reason to mention that is because it's irrelevant based on the subject matter. You put me in a forum where we have to talk about black people fighting black people, and I will respond based on the criteria of that conversation. When you talk about police brutality, people want to talk to you about black people killing black people. When we talk about black people killing black people, people don't turn around and say, how come you're not talking about police brutality?
That is true. I was talking last night, and I noticed that a lot of followers that I'd never heard from, didn't know him, white followers, once I said something about this cop, and I called her a snow pig, and they were like, you're racist. And I said, wait a minute, you had no problem with me using the term niggly bears, but snow pig is somehow a problem. Have you noticed that as soon as you, no matter how good of a person they think you are, or when you're trying to talk to your people, white people pat you on the back and say, yes, go ahead and get them in line. But as soon as you say something about their people, you become a racist.
That's a fact. And, you know, I get it quite often. And I'm like, it's so interesting because if you talk to some black people, they say I love white people. And if you talk to some white people, they say that I'm racist. And overall, I get abused by both sides. So what we have here is people that are just afraid of a strong opinion substantiated by facts that are qualified through logic and evidence, right? So the evidence stipulates that, one, we shouldn't be as concerned with if these killings are on purpose more than express concern for the manner in which the media portrays us as a people and the timing of the killings. That's what I'm more concerned about. I'm concerned with the killings, but I'm concerned with the people who want us to see the killings. Because I would suppose if I'm running this nation and I want to go to hell, I will tell the media that I control. Let's not be jokers here. We know they control the media. I would then say, you know what? Hold off on some of the media propaganda as it relates to the police brutality so things can simmer down. We can get people calm, cool, and collected. And then, you know, we can bring it up periodically every 3 to 4 months. Let's do it quarterly and show a black man or black woman dying. But we're at a point now where it's clear somebody is frustrated that black people are not fighting back. That's how I feel. I feel we getting killed so much and so frequently, someone's upset that you can't get Negroes to fight back. In fact, one of my next videos, I have to respond to some of my rapper friends. Keep in mind, baby. I have to respond to one of my rapper friends, a couple of them, because in the middle of all this chaos, where it's clear somebody wants us to engage in this war, my brothers have found an opportunity to engage in war amongst each other.
Amen.
And it's all right when you're just a regular Negro in your community raising hell. It's all right. It happens. We're dysfunctional. We've only been enslaved for hundreds of years, and we've only been free technically for about 60. So I expect us to have a whole lot of character flaws and shortcomings en route. However, when you have millions of people that follow you, you can be used as a distraction. Not only can you be used as a distraction, but you're also putting yourself in harm's way because you're creating a situation where both you and the other party in contention can be manipulated in ways to the disadvantage of yourself and your kind, your race.
I want to say something. I lost a friend and gained an enemy over what I'm about to say to you, and hopefully I won't lose a friend and gain an enemy when I say it to you. I want to talk about what you said, which is who is wanting black people right now saying, you're not fighting back like I'd like you to. And you also talked about this race war. I brought up that usually when you look at the names behind these medias, all of the major medias, there's a Stein, there's a Berg, there's a Steen, there's a, and when I brought this up to this other fellow, he became my biggest enemy because I just asked a question. So I'm going to ask you, the people who seem like they're behind this race war are not the so-called white people who are pushing it. It's someone else pushing that media button that's making sure this is being shown. It's somebody else that want us blacks to act up more than we're acting up.
I'm walking with you.
Why is it that we are afraid as black people to address this elephant in the room?
Oh, the Jews?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they run most of the media, major media. Damn near 85+% of the media is controlled by Jews. And that's why they are the ones least likely to be portrayed as homosexuals, though they have the biggest homosexual parade in the Middle East. I don't know how you get to the middle of the East. But because those are the educators. They're the ones who come up with these terms. I'm only a 10th grade dropout. But let's go along with this Middle East concept. They have the biggest gay parade in the Middle East, in Tel Aviv, Israel. When I went to Israel, I made sure I veered away from that part of the year. Okay? And this is only the holy city. This is only the Holy Land where they say God condemns homosexuals. Yet in the holy city, they have the largest gay parade ever anywhere in the Middle East, whatever that may mean. So I just think it's very interesting with them having the largest gay parade in the Middle East and them controlling most of all the media over here. Very rarely are they portrayed as homosexuals on TV.
Best example of this, brother?
It becomes incumbent that they take not just any black man, but most times men of our complexion and darker with a great deal of muscularity, or people that have very strong masculine disposition, and say, well, let's put you in a dress. So it's not just any black man. It is the dark-skinned black man, right? And it is the aggressive demeanor man that they put to the forefront. And I don't see much white actors being put under the same scrutiny or under the same pressure, I should say, to be feminine.
Especially not their masculine white actors. The white actors that are supposed to be their butch white actors and stuff, they don't throw them in a dress. But you have to think about, and one of the best examples to me is the movie American Pie. American Pie had a Jewish guy as a lead, Jason Biggs. Jason Biggs was the only one that had a functional family life. Jason Biggs, all the other white guys, the other regular white dudes, one of them mom was fucking, one of them's friend. They were all drunks and alcoholics, and they do this on purpose, as you stated. The Jewish guy is always, he's the only one out of all of them who actually got married. And even when he got married, grandma was upset that he didn't marry a Jew. So they had Jewish pride. They had Jewish family. They had the whole nine for only one. The rest of them were dysfunctional. A lot of people didn't pick that up.
Well, you see, it all makes sense to me, because if you review my last debate with Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, I went into the Talmud, I went into the Mishnah, I went into the Zohar. Okay, these are the same people who condone, let's say, what you call this thing, man? When you put your mouth on a penis to circumcise a child. oral circumcisions. That's what it is. Okay, so I pulled up how America made it legal in order to respect the Jewish community for them to do oral circumcisions, and then we find babies unfortunately being victimized by, in turn, them having herpes because of these oral circumcisions. And then I also show on the news report where one rabbi says, well, man, I've done 10,000 oral circumcisions.
What?
So this is, I'll give you the video. I'll forward you the link. It was a first round knockout. The conversation was, should we share the same God as the pale Jew? That was part of the subject matter. And when I asked, I said, all we got to do now is ask this white man, does he condemn his Jewish community for oral circumcisions? I mean, after all, this one rabbi has put 10,000 penises in his mouth.
Jeez Louise.
And I say, we also have to question, was this man circumcised in the same fashion? We can't let you off the hook, white man. We ain't gonna think about the 10,000 plus babies this rabbi got and not consider you one amongst 10,000. So he couldn't shun them for it. He said, well, some Babylonian Talmud and we don't judge. And okay, now, great. So you guys portray us as the criminals in the media. But one thing you're not gonna see black people do, and I admit, we do some horrible stuff. But one thing you're not gonna convince the average brother to do is do 10,000 baby hair. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, Pastor Goodfoot ain't doing that. Pastor Goodfoot is not doing that.
Is not gonna walk around and volunteer themselves to get in the cocksucker award. You're not gonna do that, especially amongst children, babies. We're not gonna do that. So, in addition to that, I also read how in their Talmud, if you are a non-Jew, you have the right to underpay people for the labor that they produce for you. So that means you could diminish their compensation on purpose because they're a non-Jew. I also brought that forth because what we have to remember is this. If people say, oh no, you gotta respect people's religion. The religion doesn't respect us.
Thank you.
And I'm being highly respectful because all I'm doing is quoting things.
That's from their book.
Their book. So their holy book says that you have the right to underpay people that are not Jews. Their holy book says anyone that's not a Jew is an animal. Okay, their holy book says that you can orally circumcise children. Okay, and they said it's important to suck the blood and chew the foreskin off. This is written there. I did this in a debate and I read it verbatim, and not once was I told I was wrong or I gave a mistranslation, because I also gave you the Hebrew words that subsequently followed in that particular passage. Jeez. So I say all of this to say that if the man who controls the media has a belief system that stipulates that anyone that is not of his religion is an animal, anyone that is of his religion has the right to put their mouth on a baby's penis and chew the foreskin off and suck until the blood comes out, and also stipulate that you got the right to underpay non-Jews, in addition to a host of other things. If this is what you believe God commissioned your community to execute on planet Earth, then I have great reason to understand why the media is going in the direction that they're going in.
But let me.
So you're absolutely right. The focal point has to be on the elephant in the room.
I want to push something else then.
Who controls the media?
I want to push something else then, since we're talking about it. If you notice, because people got mad at me when David Duke was on my show, and he said, if I see a black man trying to date a white woman, I'll do my best to try to stop it to keep racial purity. Now, I always found it shocking that black people would be offended by this, because if we're proud of our race, we should literally be saying the same thing, but we won't. Now, somebody's pushing this one thing on whites and blacks, but they don't push on themselves. Jews do not believe in racial mixing with blacks or anybody else. They'll be friends with you.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, but they don't believe in mixing. But they're the main ones who will jump up and put out a media report about a white guy who wants to keep his race pure and try to get us up in arms like, how dare this white guy wants to have white grandchildren that look like his granddad and his dad. why are we so offended, and why are we not paying attention that the people who's telling us to be offended doesn't want to mix with us either?
Because we still hate ourselves, and people are trying to get out. They're trying to get out. And what happens is, what I mean by they're trying to get out, it's hard being black. And this is why I said, unfortunately, and I know people get upset because they think that I attack homosexual people. I don't. I believe if it ain't right, then somebody will deal with it. I mean, we all have the right to our own preference. I'm not going to be consumed with the thoughts of what someone should be doing with their life or with their sexuality. My concerns is with my children and with the people that adhere to the things that I say, who entrust me based on the knowledge that I disseminate. That's where I'm at. I love my people in general. Of course, we will all want people to, for the most part, follow our lead, because we all would like to believe that we have the best things in mind for the most part, though we all know we are flawed in certain areas. So idealistically, my thing is this. I believe that homosexuality has become a scapegoat for black men who have given up on being strong black men. There's a gay agenda that's out there, void, separate, and different from your conventional homosexual who just like to get it in with the same gender, okay? There's two things going on here. That's what people gotta understand. You got those who call themselves same gender loving, and that might just be what they into. But we cannot forget, and this is why it gets so tricky, because we always mix everyone up, and then we give license to the homosexuals that want to omit the fact that there's a gay agenda, because we don't put it into perspective. So let me put it into perspective. There are homosexuals that exist that are just into having sex with the same damn gender. Separate and different from a gay agenda that's been implemented to effeminize, in most cases, black males.
Yep.
Why? Because if we can effeminize black men, they have that least amount of men on the front line to fight back. When you consider those that's already incarcerated and those already killing themselves and those already being killed, it puts the number very disproportionate as it relates to the male-female paradigm.
It's a two-pronged attack. It's a two-pronged attack, though. Remember, one, we're going to make sure the women don't respect the men, and two, we're going to make sure the men don't respect themselves.
How are the women going to respect the men who want to be women?
Yep.
When women know they can be better women than the men. And this is important, because if you watch the renegade homosexual man, the flamboyant homosexual man, he'll stare at a female's behind and be pissed off at her. I've walked plenty places with my wives to see homosexual men roll their eyes and hiss, suck their teeth, and disdain because they're looking at my wife's buttocks.
You've heard them say, I've heard them say, I've seen videos of them gay dudes sitting up there saying they can do X, Y, Z better than a woman. It's two things I don't like. I don't like to hear gay men talk about what you can do better than a woman, and I don't like to hear old women talking about what they can do better than a young one. Shut the fuck up, stay in your place. Why is it why is it that we even allow them to have his voice that they have? Because I blame that on women. Women are walking around, a lot of these women have best friends will be who? This gay ass dude. Tell me I'm lying.
And this is in Polight's world. And pardon me because I may be disrespectful. And it's a bit intentional because of the nature of the situation. It's not necessarily geared towards the homosexual himself. But I always say black women feel like they need to have a homosexual, like they need to have a little poodle.
Yep.
That's how I feel. They like they want to walk the fucking gay man. This gets me pissed off.
Me too.
I'll tell you why. Because when I was in the hood and everyone had pit bulls and Rottweilers, when gentrification hit and these white folks started coming and walking their little tiny dogs, then all of a sudden the hood needed to get poodles. Grown ass men, big ass, muscular men walking around these tiny ass poodles, as opposed to the Rottweilers and pit bulls. And granted now, there's a good side because these Negroes like to let their dogs run without a leash in the hood. So at least the poodle, I ain't had to worry about the shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's the upside. But then the new thing became every black woman needs to have a homosexual friend.
Yep.
Now, you can't tell me nothing if you ain't living my hood. And maybe I can't speak for every hood. But one thing about a nigga in the hood, he only travel hood to hood. He never finds Midtown Manhattan. He never finds the suburbs. He stays in one hood for most of his life. And if he leaves, somehow he walks through the good community into another hood. So I can say, when I was in my nigga consciousness, every hood I was going in, there was some black women walking
with their poodle,
their homosexual friend. And this is what I'm talking about, the trending. We don't realize that a lot of what we do is not because we chose to do it, it's because someone chose for us. When you go in a sneaker store and you believe that you're choosing the shoes that you want, you're choosing from a selection that has been already chosen for you. So just like religion, we would like to believe. We honestly picked Christianity. We honestly picked Islam. But we didn't pick that. It was inculcated into our consciousness from childhood, and it was the only accessible religions at our disposal.
Yep.
Okay? So we didn't have a plethora of Buddhists in our community so we could compare and contrast which religion we wanted to find ourselves in. But if we try to express this to our brothers and sisters respectfully, they would like to believe that they were endowed with the opportunity to make subscriptions to the religion that they're presently in, void of the fact that there is a circumference of 24,896 square miles that makes up this orb that we call planet Earth, which should be called planet water because it's mostly water. We have this thing in our mind that says, well, no, we are the lucky bunch. And we would like to also ignore the rest of the unlucky bunch, which makes up most of the world's populace.
That's what I love about people who fuck with those Christian blacks. There was one guy, he said, well, shouldn't you guys actually thank your slave masters if you believe in Christianity so much? Shouldn't you thank them for giving you this great religion and enslaving you? Like, they can't answer that, but shouldn't they? If they believe that crap, they should thank the white man, shouldn't they?
The best thing that ever happened is that we seek God. That's the logic we have to deduce.
Yep.
And if that's not the logic, all we got to do is ask people the same old question. What was we doing prior to slavery? Because if we wasn't doing that worship prior to slavery, and we wasn't making subscription to those scriptures prior to slavery, then we have to simultaneously embrace God and embrace slavery. And we have to see slavery as some form of divine intervention in order that we can receive a book that still has a subject to police brutality. So I always suggest to people, let's take the truth that's in there. If it makes sense and it's making us feel good and we can revisit it and it empowers us, I'm not mad at it. Because I can read any book and it can probably empower me. So I don't mind that. It's the sensationalism. It's when we start to romanticize and we start to speak on behalf of God, knowing that it's coming from our own reservations. I had a brother write me something today, very interesting. He said the reason why people don't believe, I wish I could pull it up. I can actually pull it up. The reason why people don't believe, I'm paraphrasing, is because they're not as spiritual, or they're not spiritual at all. So I said, you're the lucky one. That's what it is. You obviously are the one that's spiritual, so you actually understand everything. So here we go. Let's open up this book and let's see if you understand the original language that's written. Oh no, it ain't about the words. It's about the spirit. So I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Here's another message that I sent to my friend King Los today. I sent the message to him today, real funny. I will pull it up. This thing is hilarious because what I sent them was this message right here. This was funny, man. I sent it to a couple of my friends out here because this person says, the problem with your statement is that you're trying to understand it intellectually. Sorry, but you're not smart enough to understand God's word.
Oh, I've heard that all the time.
Hold on. The problem with this statement is that you're trying to understand it intellectually. Stupid fucking me for having
right.
What I went to school for? You feel what I'm saying? What I've been reading books for? Why the hell did I learn to read and write? Why was I given arithmetic to evaluate? Stupid me.
Spiritualism needs to be a class.
My edification. Stupid me. So what are you using? A damn sure ain't intellect according to this person, right? So he says the problem with your statement is that you're trying to understand it intellectually. Sorry, but you're not smart enough to understand God's word. So listen to the oxymoron. I'm not. My problem is because I'm trying to use my intellect. And he's smart enough to know that he's not smart enough to understand God. Now, if that needs to be explained to anyone listening, you can tell why we give religious people a hard time. Yep. They say weird things like this, right? So I wrote my man and I say, look, if we're not smart enough to understand God's word, then how did you rationalize to follow his word in the first place? If you're too fucking stupid to understand God's word, how the hell you know you're doing the right thing in the first place? Because it takes intellect for you to rationalize in the first place that you're doing the damn thing right. Now I get it. Spiritual faculty and intellect, I know people like to make it two different things. But I believe that the spirit is a form of intelligence. That's the world I'm coming from. You are never going to hold yourself exempt from intellect under no circumstance. Emotion is a form of intelligence. Okay? Love, in my opinion, is the highest form of intelligence. The second you start educating black people that they need to remove themselves from intellect when it comes time to make a decision about the way they're going to live their lives, I then start saying to myself, now I understand all these different scriptures they've been given to black people. I personally believe that they've been giving these books to black people just to see who would bite. And if Negroes start waking up, they'll start creating more distractions to put them back to sleep. But if we can get most of the masses to believe, like Prophet Muhammad is an illiterate prophet who was giving a book, okay? The man can't read, but he was given a book to teach the rest of the world how to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you ask him about it and say, oh no, he had to commit everything to memory. Hold on. Yeah, they told him, but then they tell him to ikra. Ikra means to read. Right. So then the angel Gabriel said, read in the name of your Lord and your sustainer. How the hell was he told to read if he's illiterate? But you see, if we go into Arabia, we'll find what? That the word ummi not only means my mother, but it's a homophone. So it also means unlettered, which is scriptural jargon, which means unlearned in a scriptural language in particular. So he was unlearned in the language that the information was presented to him, so they had to put it in another language because he was of the Quraysh tribe, according to the narrative. Not that I'm saying any of these people exist in the first place. I just can read, study, and comprehend. So what I'm saying is that one mistranslation of the word ummi, which means one who cannot understand in a certain language written in a certain scripture, doesn't mean he can't read at all.
Nice.
When we come into the English, because at the end of the day, I mean, I love Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's one of the most powerful people that ever existed on planet Earth, but the brother did not speak Arabic. Let's just be for real. Let me show you how disrespectful our black community will be. We're going to have black people say, he got the nerve to say what? The truth about the messenger.
Thank you. I'm tired of that. Look, when you can't say truth, and we have too many people, like a woman called me today, fine woman, she was like, oh, sometimes I regret my decision of being with you when she did whatever. And I was like, what the fuck kind of call is this? You can't take your pussy back, but okay. And I was like, well, why do you say this? She said, I was reading some of the stuff that you write, and even though I'm mixed, my mom, my aunt, and these black women are in my family, and yeah, many of them have babies by many different men, and many of them are ratchet and on drugs, but they're my loved ones. I said, okay, and my dad was a deadbeat dad. Do you have a problem with me talking about deadbeat dad? She said, that's different. I said, how the fuck is that different? You're literally sitting up here saying, because these women in your family were jackasses, but you love them, I shouldn't talk about jackass women because it will remind you of your family. But if I talk about jackass dudes, you're going to cheer that on. It makes no sense that we can't tell the truth. Please enlighten the people on where we get this roadblock of, oh, I love this guy, so you can't say the truth about him.
I'm telling you, the very inception to this type of ignorance finds itself in slavery through the indoctrination of these different religions. Because we had to been told, just have faith when we had questions. I'm telling you, I know, because I come from a family where my pops was teaching me on the Nation of the Gods and Earths information. He was the firstborn for 5%ers. My grandmother had me in Holy Rosary Catholic School because she had the money so she can pay the tuition to send me to Holy Rosary Catholic School. So I had to pretend to eat Jesus' body and drink his blood. Pause. Okay? And then I had to also be subject to Sunni Islam under my mother's family's regime, though I didn't know my mother. Okay? So I had to do my La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah over there. My A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I had to do all of that shit when I'm around them. Then I had to come over here. The original man is black man, the Asiatic black man, the cream of the universe. I had to do all of that there with my pops. Okay, then I had to go with these spooky ass nuns with the ashes on my head with the cross, you know, and eat cardboard or whatever that was for the body and make this communion and all this other stuff. So I know what it is to be told, shut up and just listen. Because I had to do it 3 different places. And that's why I wound up leaning to my pops a little bit more because there was a little more sense in that doctrine. I'm not talking about the Yakub gravitation story and the brown germ, the black germ, and the white germ. I don't believe in none of that. And this people feel offended by these things. But I don't believe in all that gravitation stuff going on. Okay? It has to be worded differently. Okay? Something has to take place in that narrative for me to respond to it. I like the story. It makes me feel great and very significant as a black person to know white people was extracted out of me and then experiment with a guy with a huge head pause that has 2 brains. Sounds phenomenal. Sounds phenomenal, right? But we can't prove that shit anymore.
Thank you.
Prove any of the other shit that people do.
Thank you.
So black people, I tell them all the time, I'm blessed with the ability to critically think and make assessments on my own behalf, void of the pressure that my peers give me. So I don't teach this white man is the devil stuff. And people get upset. Now, you can't tell me about the white man being the devil when I grew up in the fucking hood.
Thank you.
I grew in the hood. I know some devil shit. I've seen some shit you ain't never seen by any race. You have to live with your race to see some shit. Every race abuses their own. That's a fact. So I don't believe in this black on black crime unless it's going to be white on white and Chinese on Chinese, because people are more likely to criminalize each other in the communities that they reside in.
That's right.
So I'm not with all of that talk. However, as a black man that resided in the black community, I've seen some shit. I've been abused. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I've been sliced. And I probably deserved all those things at that time. I'm not even going to lie to you. Let me keep it a buck. I've been isolated from society and locked up. And I probably should have been isolated from society and locked up just to keep it a buck with you. Most people won't tell the damn truth. I was acting crazy as hell. I would like us to have our own prisons. I would like us to have more creative control over the legislation, the judiciary system, and all that. Maybe in the future. But it stands to reason right now, I know I was reciting the lyrics that made me perpetuate the crimes.
Yep.
This is a fact. And it's hypnotism. So when we keep reciting these lyrics over and over, and the women are gonna keep reciting that they're bitches over and over in the music, and I'm gonna keep reciting how I'm gonna kill niggas over and over, then eventually we're gonna have niggas and bitches at war, and there's gonna be bloodshed. So what I'm saying is that shit is devilment. If there's such a devil, that's devilment. Now I don't void the fact that someone put us in this position. We can argue both points. At this particular stage in conversation, I'm on the ass of the black folks. That's what I'm dealing with right now. The point that I'm gonna argue right now is that we have to give up the folklore in order to become intelligent. But you see, after we blasphemed Christianity and Judaism and Islam, we've created false renditions of the same.
Thank you.
Meaning, we created our own Christianity and try to call it, this ain't Christianity though. But nigga, you got a lot of your crazy ideas from them crazy motherfuckers that enslaved us. You just made it black.
Yep.
So these Hebrew Israelites that's out there on the streets, King James was a black man and all that other shit. Fine, let's make King James a black man. Religion makes people fucking stupid. Let's make King James a black man. What we do, okay? He's a black man. Now I'm gonna ask you something. Did he not exist during the time Negroes were being exported and imported on ships? In England, this black man was in control and allowing black people to be enslaved during that time, and he's the figurehead of your holy book. It makes it worse that he's a black man.
Thank
outside
you.
of him being white.
Thank you. I told him the same thing. I said, if blacks own the whole world and you telling me this black man created a white person, He created his downfall?
And we can't get out. So who do we get mad at? Because the original lessons, when you do your 120, if you go to the original lessons and you ask, who created the devil? In the lessons, it tells you the original man, the black man created the devil. From the black germ, the brown germ, to the white germ.
Yep.
The original man, it says, created the devil. The original man, the black man, created the devil. So now here's my question. How the hell did the white man become the devil? If the original man, in your lessons, and anybody that's out there that's the nation of the gods and earths, that's a 5%er, stop keeping this shit a secret. In your lessons, you teach the original man, the black man, created the devil. Right or wrong? Are these not the words? Don't shuck and jive. Don't try. And then you got Negroes, and in the Nation of Islam, we got to talk to them. We was in the jungle for so long that we was walking, and guess what? Our hair caught onto the branches, and our shit became nappy. But you see, niggas don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. You see, this is why I tell my brothers and sisters, I'm a good man, because at the end of the day, I can still honor the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I can still honor the Father Allah and call him by the title that you guys praise him. I can still honor Noble Jew Ali. But enough with the fuck shit.
Thank you.
You feel me? I honor them because they did the best they can do during the time they was in. Those brothers didn't have Google. They couldn't download PDFs. You see, when they read, they had to read from front to back and wing it and hope this book was the right information.
Yep.
They didn't have a plethora of research materials before them, like we can. What they was able to do, man, we can get most of their information, a diligent study of it. And this is not to defame them or disrespect them, and I may be exaggerating a little bit. But when we study these doctrines that they was teaching us, a well-learned brother, an autodidactic brother or sister that's zealously in pursuit for knowledge may be able to encapsulate a lot of what they was teaching in a month. Granted, maybe an exaggeration, and it probably is. But I'm only employing this rhetoric so I can drive my point home. They had far less materials at their disposal to come to the conclusions that they arrived at. So granted, there will be errors in everything that our previous teachers gave us. They did a damn good job.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to be a slave to nobody's ignorance because they're black and they did a great job during their era. We got to clean some of this shit up respectfully without disrespecting them. I don't have to disrespect those brothers. Our people make me want to say inflammatory things at times because they're so zealous in their embrace for these black men that it makes me get a little arrogant. And then I have to start saying, do you really want me to talk about walking through the jungle as our hair got snapped onto the branches? How come y'all don't go out in the streets and teach that part of the shit?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna do it. And let's forget about the whole fraud Muhammad, who is Allah in the flesh. He came in the personage of Allah in the flesh, who obviously is a blood drop or two shy of being a complete white man. And I'll give him that. Because I think he's just white.
Yep.
But I'll give him that. Because after all the pro-black information you give me, we got to look on the wall and see this guy. And you're going to tell me, after the white man's the devil, that Allah will come in a personage of someone who phenotypically represents the devil to raise black people? Don't you think that further entrenches us in the spell because it's going to make us say, man, we only want light-skinned leadership?
Thank you.
Again.
Please go into this. Let me ask you something. What is black people's fascination? What is our fascination with mixed folks? They literally got this dude, and I forgot, Sean King. They now know he's white, and they still follow him. They love anything that's white. Jesse Williams, he was up there looking like Justin Timberlake, and black chicks was falling at his feet. We literally follow everybody that's mixed, which in common sense and in any, how about this? You from New York, so you know how the Italians deal with Italians. Will an Italian let a mob boss be a mixed breed Italian?
Hell no. It's not going to happen. We ain't trying to hear no Sicilians. We're not trying to hear none of that. And all those Moorish fabrications, I love those brothers too. But the ones finding the word Moor in the pyramids and all this other shit they be talking about, stop being so damn fanatical. Ain't nobody was walking around calling nobody no fucking more during that time. Stop trying to place yourself in history. That's called an anachronism, when you misappropriate dates and times to fit the mode or conform to the doctrine that you want to disseminate to the masses.
I call black people today and those people who do that, like I call them Forrest Gump, because if you remember the movie Forrest Gump, everything that happened in history, Forrest was there. That's how they do it with black folks. Like, we were here, we were the ones who started that, and they don't even understand the contradictions in when they say it. Because if you
implications.
Yep.
Because you don't want to always be everywhere in history, because then you're gonna have to be held accountable for the shit that went wrong.
Thank you.
So I'm not about to be like, I be telling them, slow down with that, because if we were the Moors and we was building the White House and we were the presidents, then my nigga, why the fuck were we in slavery?
They won't talk about it. Now, I want to ask you, why are we so entrenched today in pushing the mixed person, the mixed black?
It goes back to what I was saying earlier about trying to escape and why the black man reverts to homosexuality. And of course, I'm not talking about all black men, to make it clear. But what I want to make clear is this: that escapism, it's very hard to be a black man, especially the darker you get in the spectrum of melanin. It's very difficult, but in general, just being a black man is difficult. So there are options. You get poked in your butt as one of them. That's an option. It's an option. You can get a get out of jail free card for being a black man if you're willing to get poked in your ass.
He's right. He's right.
There are opportunities for niggas with wide assholes. This is a fact. They've created it, and guess what? Negroes have become so weak that they're bending over now, because they just don't want to fight no more. We are the last of a dying breed, my brother. Yeah. Black men are giving into temptation. Hey, you know what they're saying? Well, my wifey got a car and she got a credit card, you feel me? So they're becoming the black woman's bitch.
Yep.
They're becoming the white woman's biggest bitch. You see what I'm saying? They don't feel no way about it. They just say like, look, I'm just trying to get out of this nigga situation. So for those who won't sell their ass whole, literally, the rest of them will be a bitch to another race and play a subservient, effeminate role because they've quit on themselves. Because guess what? There ain't no glory in talking the way we talk. But once you start talking like this as a black man, doors get closed on you. And everybody's not going to make it. You ain't going to be a Brother Polight success story. I wake up days and still, I can't even understand, you know, how I made it this far. Because I don't hold my tongue. People see me with white folks and they be like, these were white folks. But my shit is not on private. You can look at all my stuff on YouTube, on Instagram. I've never been apologetic about who and what I am and what I represent. So that should give you more the reason to embrace me, because I'm not afraid to so-called lose. That's when I have to actually get spooky and say, man, I'm just dealing with a higher spirit at this particular point, because I can't even explain.
I've said the same.
I'm not afraid to even co-sign what I'm teaching. That means the truth and the value in what I'm saying is so potent that people are just like, man, he'll be that exception. But for the rest of you brothers and sisters out there, your ass is grass. I'm telling you that. It comes with a great consequence to be conscious and vocal simultaneously when it comes to expressing your political, social, and educational dissidence. It comes with a price. And I'm sure more doors would have been opened up to me that I don't even know about. I just made sure I created a space around what I do where all my brands are not necessarily tracked back to me, so people don't say that. It'll be your own people that won't wipe their own ass with the toilet paper you created for all races just because they don't like you.
Thank you.
They will keep dingleberries. They will keep shit in the hairs of their ass before they use your toilet paper they know you're responsible for creating. I know my people. So you're not going to make me feel guilty that I create products that can be purchased by everybody. Because when the white man makes toilet paper, he doesn't set a line of demarcation amongst the races to establish who's the privy one to wipe their ass with this two-ply.
Right, like it won't work on a nigga's ass. As soon as a nigga put it on his ass, it just turned into dust. Like
we're likely to create some red, black, and green toilet paper. Literally in the colors red, black, and green. Have ink all up our ass and try to only sell it to black people, and then get pissed off when we see it's a dying market trying to sell exclusively to our own people. I want to create products that the world or that the international realm or that the nation in general or that our local city can respond to. We can't always only sell to black people who identify not with the progression, but the struggle.
Right. That's what I want to ask you something about that.
Watch this. Negroes, go to my website and complain about the prices of my products. And forget, I'm no longer soliciting to people in a certain tax bracket. That has nothing to do with you. It wasn't even your business. If you're sitting there and you see something for $15,000 and you say, man, this nigga's a fraud. He got shit up there for 15 grand. That means it's not to be sold to you. It's sold to someone who has 15 grand like you have $15. Mind your business. How you telling me what I should charge for my products and my services? Let me explain something to you. Everyone else can have so-called expensive products, but I can't. When I have expensive products, I owe somebody something to be able to sell expensive. Let me show you something about how weird and how tricky people are. One thing I've learned is that you never get paid what you are worth, because that is a lie. No one can pay you what your talent is worth. Your talent is an invaluable tool and is unique to you. It is exclusive to you. So no one can pay me what I'm worth. I can only get what I negotiate.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So I'm not about to let no one tell me what my self-worth is, because I don't even have a determination for my self-worth. I only negotiate the price that is permissible based on the marketplace that I'm in. No one's going to stipulate, determine, mandate, or criticize me for what it is that I establish as my prices. We got to come out of that foolishness. And this is why you make it so difficult for your leaders to fight for you, because every step of the way we fighting for you, there's some damn Negro out there trying to tear you down. And he's not trying to tear you down because he or she has valid reasons.
Well,
no, he's not trying to tear you down because he's getting paid, which is the worst amongst all Negro troll activity. You're not even getting paid by the government to troll your leaders. So why the hell do you do it? I know this. I sit here and I rack my brains over how many of you people are actually sitting here trolling people for free.
Thank you.
To the point where the government is like, yo, we had to lay some fucking agents off. Yo, these agents is doing a hell of a job. Do you know there's a bunch of agents in an unemployment line right now because you niggas is selling out for free?
For free. At
least get a damn job and get yourself a damn government job and spy like a committed father of a sellout. What I have, man. I want like a regular committed sellout and at least get paid. Because I would like the peace of mind to know that the Negro trolling me is at least feeding his black family.
Thank you.
Like to know that.
I've said that myself. Like, you gonna sit up here, and that's why I always told him, I said, it's funny that you think I work for the white man, but all my personal information gets on the internet like that. What white man do I work for that's allowing this to happen? That nigga, he need to do a better damn job. He need to protect me more than this. But I want to talk about that right quick. And before we get into the main meat of this, you have the same problem that I have, that a lot of us have, which is people want to talk about us and say, look, he's driving a Bentley. Look at his nice house. Where are those people are donating? Like, they're worried about our pocket more than the message. Like, we can't get paid for it when Donald Trump goes around and charges $10,000 a seminar just to go and talk, or $100,000 or whatever he charges. Why is it that our own people look at us and believe that, wait a minute, it looked like this nigga's getting too much, let me bring him down?
It's that jealousy. I always call it infatuation or infatuation. When people first are confronted with your spirit and they appreciate what you contribute, they love your input, it's okay. Except for those instances when it comes from somebody who's also trying to demonstrate it and they keep coming up short. So someone appreciates me as a teacher and they're able to see how I flourish and how I've succeeded throughout the years. And they love me as a teacher for teaching because they themselves also want to teach. But then when they go to teach, they don't get the same receptivity. they don't get the same response. In turn, those feelings that they had for me, where they revered me as a teacher, turn into discontentment because every time they see me, I'm a reflection of their shortcomings. And if they don't know how to assimilate or process that data in a constructive fashion, then the love turns into malice. It transmutes into rage. And thus, I'm always going to be a reminder of where they come up short. And thus, I say infatuation becomes infatuated. So oftentimes, the people that are sharing their dissenting views about people such as ourselves is only because they wish they were in the position and they don't know how to verbalize the fact that they need support or that they need help. You know, I've had people send me messages, please help me. I want to learn this, that, and the other. But by the time I got to the message, there were other messages that followed up, which was, oh, I see how it is. You too big for the people you ain't answering. There's another message. F you, motherfucker. Fuck you. And I'm like, yo, hold on. The first message, I'm seeing the first, second, third, and the fourth all at the same time. So the first one is, I love you. I follow what you do, brother. Please, I want to be under you. Let me be a mentee. I'm like, wow, this is dope, man. What an incredible guy.
I'd like to meet this brother. Have a club.
As I keep reading, my countenance changes, and I'm like, damn, like that, because I am responding to the message. If you love me no matter what the condition is, man. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who just frustrated. And I understand, because again, it's hard being Black in America for Black men and for Black women. I understand it perfectly. And if a person has cancer, my first instinct is not to smack the hell out of someone who has cancer, because I understand that that person is sick and the circumstances that led to them being sick may not have necessarily been all of their, it may not have necessarily been a product of their decision-making overall. Yeah. There may have been other things in place to ensue them with that disease, so to speak. So in the same case with our brothers and sisters that are suffering psychologically, suffering from all sorts of psychosis in our community. Let's just keep it real, okay? Because we don't like to be called stupid or crazy, right? And unfortunately, we're suffering from both. It's just true, it happens. And because this is the case, no one's getting any help. Because when we beseech help as Black people, we're afraid someone may take our children. So picture me, a Black man under a lot of stress, knowing I got children in a lower income community, and actually reach out to somebody and say, hey, I need some help, I'm under certain stress. I have to be in fear that someone's gonna take my child at the end result of me being honest about the stress that I'm having to endure.
Very true.
So a lot of us, now it's become culture. Where people say, man, Black people gotta go out there and try to get help. It's become culture because of circumstances that pre-existed the present day ones, where we're like, oh, we don't go see help. And if you say a nigga crazy or something ain't right with him, he'll be the first one to tell you nothing's wrong while he's doing this. You know, he'd be the first one to tell you, oh no, I got this playing basketball. Like, no, we know you're sick. We know something's not going on right, but we're not even going to find out. So what's happening is you got a lot of 30, 40-year-old autistic adults. Okay? We don't want to talk about it, but let's keep it real. We cannot be in poverty for so long. We cannot see our brothers and sisters being killed for so long without coming up with some kind of psychosis or some kind of complex. We can't be without a mother, not for just one generation, but for several, or without a father for several generations. We can't grow up molested or abused for so long without thinking there's not going to be some kind of psychological implications on the adult that's walking around here.
Another thing we don't...
If it were up to me, people would have to get permits to have sex, and they would have to get licenses to make babies. And you have to say, well, you're only allowed to have one child in your license. Well, first of all, are you permitted to have sex? I will lock a motherfucker up. If you ain't have a permit to have sex, if you did not have a permit to have sex, then it should be punishable by crime that you be incarcerated for making a child, because we know there should be an IQ test for people today. Until we get things back right, we need to know, like, if I ask a woman how much people live in the state of Georgia, and she says, 80,000, then I know this motherfucker don't need to make no children. I know this. Because you think only 80,000 people live in the state of Georgia, then I know you're fucking nuts. And the children you create will in turn become nuts unless they're miracle babies. And I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of our children are miracle babies.
Miracle babies, yes.
I've seen a lot of assholes create very intelligent children, but it can only last for so long. Because when poverty sets in, and gang violence sets in, and poor education sets in, and low nutrition sets in, those brilliant minds birthed by complete idiots cannot even be saved either.
Hey, let me ask you something. I want to make sure I'll see if we can let me see if our friendship can last this question. I talk about something that I rarely hear people talk about, but I know it affects black people. I know it. The most of us know black people who were born in a city, never left that city, born in a project, and 40, 50 years old, still living that same square mile. Now, if you do the logic and you do the math, if the grandma them used to stay in that project.
Black Queen said, I have no idea how many people live in Georgia. You know, that's not the point. The point is this.
The number you would state at 40,000 is way too ridiculous, is what he's saying.
I don't know what kind of room you're in, Tommy, right? But I believe you can't fit 10,000 people in there. Is that safe?
Right.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, give it a break, family. I see people, you know, who is it? Well, I don't know. So you sound like the insecure people that vote 80,000 in Georgia. Come on, man. Let's be for real here. I'm just saying.
Now you see what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. You see it. You can't have a common sense conversation with people. You can't use parables. You can't use analogies. They don't get it. They didn't understand that what you were saying was not that you know the exact number, but you know it's way more than this number.
That's a fact. If many of us, whether it's a woman talking to a man or a man talking to a woman, if many of us, and then people got mad at me because I taught a class where people said, I want to learn from you about relationships. And that's why I stopped teaching relationship classes, because I'm just entirely too honest.
Yep.
So I said, when I meet women, I give them an IQ test. Who the fuck are you? You should hear the shit that came at me, because I give women an IQ test. Got to. You know what? I need to know. Do you know who Marcus Garvey is? Who's Jesus? Does he exist? What race is he? I need to know these things. You know why? I need to know what level of insanity are you fucking with, so I can know how far to position myself from you. Because you know why this is important? You'll get into a relationship with people because you're sexually attracted, and then you'll try to make the psychosis work for you. And down the line, it works against you. So I say, based on your criteria as a black woman or as a black man, you may, like where I'm at right now today, doesn't suffice that I deal with a woman under the same circumstances I would have dealt with a woman 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I had less knowledge and lower criteria, not because I was slow, but just because throughout the years, I'm constantly challenging myself to learn. So the type of woman that I would have engaged 10 years ago, I would never engage 10 years later. Good luck to the people I'm with now, because I will never be with you again. You see what I'm saying? I need to be with somebody that's not going to demand too much time, energy, and attention. Meaning, if I got to convert your ass because you heavily indoctrinated, you can't listen to truth, you're eating swine, you see what I'm saying? Like, and you have no intention to try different food to diet. Now, this doesn't mean that you're evil if you're eating swine. This means that based on the type of person I am, the way that I'm raising my children, and the environment that I'm in, I don't need next to my vegan food a slab of fucking ham's ass with cloves in it, with pineapple around the cloves, coated with sugar, as we see you slicing into the buttocks of the fuck, because it's the ham's ass. I don't need no one cutting into no ham's ass next to my vegan food and talking about I'm happily married with this woman.
No, I agree. Now I still got to get my question.
I resent that woman eventually, because it's going to plague my spirit, and she's going to resent me because she's going to say, if you love me, why you don't set me in this ham's ass? Why you don't cut into a piece of this thing with the cloves and the coated sugar and the pineapple? This is all slavery food, but if you're eating it, there's a partner for you out there in America. It's just not me. But why should I engage you and have a relationship with you for 6 months, 8 months, 1 year down the line before I tell the truth? Like, Dad, you know, the vajayjay good. But I'm starting to feel like the ham is seeping through her vajayjay. That's how my brain gonna think. If I know you're eating this stuff, I'm gonna be thinking that it's permeating out the pores of your vagina. And it's gonna compromise the way I think and the way I penetrate. And I'm gonna lose my mind. Then my child gonna be born, I'm gonna think he's half.
Now you gotta answer my question though. I was talking about the fact that these people are all born in like the same place in generations. So the one thing we never talk about in the Black community is this, and I hope that people will address it because I seem to be the only one addressing it. You talked about how people are crazy, how there's undiagnosed mental issues, but the one place we rarely go in the Black community is where the first place we should start: incest.
Where you going with this time?
These people are crazy because if you got a bunch of women who are living in the same place, they've never left this borough of Brooklyn, they've never left this project home in Atlanta for 80 fucking years. They've all lived there. They've never been a nigga that stay. He just fucking duck. That's gonna be a new one, nigga fucking duck. So he out, and all these little kids, like how I grew up in the hood, and I remember the first people you fucked was people you knew. Sad part was the people you knew were people related to you, even though you didn't know it. Why don't we talk about the fact that there's a shitload of incest in the Black community that's contributing to these mental problems? You know niggas that have never left the city. You know this is a fact. While you traveling, niggas be like, man, I wish I could leave. And you be looking at them like, I know I went back to where I grew up at. I saw them niggas look like shit. Nobody had no teeth in their mouth. Motherfuckers are still on the same block. What's up, T-Dog? Ah, nigga. And I was like, God, dog. And you know what I'm talking about. You be like, God, I'm glad I got away from this shit. These niggas all fucking each other. Like they just go to sleep and have a big ass neighborhood orgy and whatever the fuck come out. Like, that's what it looked like. Why don't we talk about the fact that these niggas need to travel? Nigga, get in the car, drive somewhere.
You see, now here we go. This takes me to my next point. Because in my world that I'm living in, I always tell people, oh man, I don't have a wife by the same nationality. I always make sure.
Thank you.
So I have a Guyanese wife. I have an American wife. Sudanese wife. You see what I'm saying? Dominicana wife. So the reason why I do that was because, you know, I wanted to see different versions of myself, provided we make children and diversify within our race.
Yep.
And then I'm also a scientist, so I'm looking to see who's producing what.
I ain't mad at you.
So that's very, very true. It's very interesting.
Yeah, but we don't bring it up. Like we should bring it up. These Negroes have never left where they're from. And then they don't know who their daddy is because there's a fucked up stat amongst Black women. That's
even weird. Because if no one's leaving, it should be a higher probability of knowing who the daddy is.
Thank you.
But that speaks to the social anomaly that's transpiring in the community. And that's another can of worms. But yo, I gotta get ready to get out of here. Is it a call you want to take or?
Well, if you gotta leave, I can't take the phone. I'd have to set up the lines. It would take a minute. So what I'm gonna do is just let you end it off of people are seeking advice of what's going on. I went off on the woman because I think that woman was scared, and they have a lot of people. I don't know if you heard that phone call, but I remember the pilot stated, "That looks like a bad dude." The first words out of his mouth was that the Black man looked like a threat before knowing that he was a threat. And to just say he looked like a bad dude. What do we do? What do we tell the young people when one engaging with white people? Because again, the brother shouldn't have been walking off like that. If we believe the white man is the devil, if we believe he don't like us, then why are we looking for benevolence from the devil? If we believe the white man's the devil, why do we keep seeking benevolence from him?
I'm gonna tell you this again. It's escapism. It's the same reason why Black men decide to be homosexual. Of course, not all Black men. I'm making a generalization that's fair, because I just don't believe the men of my race, under normal circumstances, would confide in homosexuality. Primarily because I was alive when they did it. I'm not that old. My children be having me feel like I'm old because this homosexuality is normal to them. This is what people are doing. I'm telling them I was alive a few years ago where it wasn't that normal. just a few years ago. So I know there has to be a heavy indoctrination process, heavy media propaganda, and of course the compromising of our foods and the drugs that they disseminate into our community. This is part of the answers to all the social anomalies that are taking place in our community. The food, the drugs, the education, and the media propaganda is what has us conditioned to embrace everyone else but ourselves. It's all about the education at the end of the day. And if the education is poor, the people are going to remain poor. So we're lacking in what's called common customs, which is a calculus system that precipitates culture. All right? Our forefathers and foremothers' responsibility was to create an edict that we can follow, so we'll be protected from our own inequity, our own ignorance. Meaning when you have a cultural paradigm that you thrive in, you don't necessarily have to think about why you're doing what you're doing sometimes. Things are designed in such a way that, hey, you can do the history and hopefully your elders share with you the history and how the rules came about and why the rules came about. Nonetheless, if you follow the rules, you're safe. Well, we don't have rules. And why would I ask you, what is the food of the African American? And why? See, other people have foods that correspond with their DNA. So it's very likely they'll be sick less often and they'll have less implications mentally. But when you have a people that don't even know what their food is, then if they don't know what their food is, they don't know what their drugs are. See, just saying, hey, you have cancer, so this is what we're going to give to anybody that has cancer. That's absolutely nuts, because everyone didn't arrive at cancer through the same means. So how could you prescribe to everyone that has cancer the same drugs or methodology? No, this is insane. So if you don't know the food that you're supposed to eat, then you don't know the drugs that you're supposed to take in, because the food is the primary source of medicine. This is probably going over a lot of people's heads, because I've learned to keep my mouth shut a lot of times when I get in the presence of certain people, because they'll talk to me like they are way smarter and way more proficient in the things that I've been studying for a long period of time. This means they can't teach me anything. This means it hurts when you know people are lacking suitable proficiency in preceding degrees of knowledge, and they intimate that you're the idiot because you thought this thing out. Just like you said, hey, no one's leaving the neighborhood. It's a form of incest. It's a qualified thought. So good it makes me laugh. I'm like, I can rationalize it. This makes a lot of sense. Well, in like manner, if a tree is too high for the Negro that lives around it, then the Negro doesn't belong in that environment, because the tree wouldn't grow taller than the person it's supposed to feed. Nature doesn't work like that. It's just true. Herds correspond with the people that live in that environment. They're not meant to fly from one part of the world to the next, unless the people of that environment go to another part of the world. Then we bring their food with them. When the polar bear goes to the zoo, they simulate the environment, bring the polar bears babies, and do what it is that they got to do. The polar bear's young, simulate the weather, give them the same food, because they don't want the polar bear to lose its mind. When the Negro got taken from Africa, they gave him Tony's Pizza, pork fried rice and 2 chicken wings, and tons of milk. But these are foods that don't correspond with our DNA. Our DNA doesn't know what pizza is. It can't rationalize this abuse of cheese in the community. Okay? There's places in Africa, they don't know what a chicken is. All right? And if you don't know where you have your genetic affinity, that is a big part of the problem, because your body is resisting this information. I'm blood type O. So guess what? I don't eat wheat, amongst many other things. Why? Because blood type O doesn't respond to wheat like it's a food. It responds to wheat like there is an immune problem when it comes into the bloodstream. The antigens don't like wheat when it comes into a blood type O bloodstream. So I know, don't deal with it. I'm blood type O, so I also don't drink orange juice, amongst other things. I wouldn't drink it in light of my alkaline diet, but I definitely don't drink it because I'm blood type O, and my body responds to my O blood type responds to orange juice different than a blood type A would respond to orange juice. But some of us actually have to see the bumps on our face to say, oh, I can't drink it because this is what it does to my face, to say, oh, I can't drink it because this is what it does to my face. But if it doesn't hit a Negro face, who cares if I got a pain in my back or my arm? This is how we think. So what I'm saying is, if the education is poor, the community is going to wind up poor. Why? Because if the education is poor, your diet is going to plague you with sickness, and you're going to have to pay for that. If the education is poor, your mouth is going to talk you into situations where you get hurt, or you miss days out of work because of violence, or you're so stressed you can't focus when you go to school. So if the education is poor, you're going to make poor decisions and in turn be impoverished. That's how this thing works. So we need a culture that we can make subscriptions to, that is designed by a previous generation that has made the mistakes already, and then they raise the children to come to respond to the errors that they made so they can evade it themselves in their generation. We can get rid of the problem if 2 generations cooperate with each other. But a household in economics is consistent with 3 generations: grandparents, their children, and their children's children. 3 generations make up a household in economics. So your children can see how parenting looks like when they watch their parents be educated by your children's grandparents, which is your parents' parents. That's how this thing works. That's how you get edified, because you can grow up seeing your mother and your father be disciplined and understand hierarchy, understand respect, seniority, discipline. But we're at loss for all this stuff in the Black community. And every time we try to create that, one parent probably is more for it than the other parent, because this is what's going on. Opposites attract, right? So the knucklehead gets with the genius, and they make babies that have conflict in genes. This is what's going on here in America, in Black America. So it won't happen for everybody. And I don't teach a doctrine where I believe all Black people got to be saved. I've given up on that long time ago. Not because I put on Black people, but I understand logically it don't make no sense. Save yourselves. That's the moral of this story. You want to answer? If this information is making sense to you, work diligently and desperately to see if you can find at least one person of the opposite sex to preference. One person of the opposite sex that can agree with these sentiments and lock arms with them, because we're coming in the end days. And I'm telling you, Black people are going to turn on each other. You think that we're about to fight these white folks because they're killing us?
Nope.
We're a different state of people. We're going to turn up more on each other than we are going to turn against these white folks that's killing us. I can guarantee you that. Now, I'm going to teach for us to respond to white folks. That's what I'm going to teach. But I'm wise enough to know that the damage has been done so badly that a lot of Negroes just got to be eliminated in the process. We got to start just breeding for a strong generation of men that can't be compromised through a cultural edict, a strong generation of Black women who won't be compromised, who won't prostitute themselves for views, not even money, just views.
Likes, subs. Hey, I wanted to say this because what you were saying, I know you got to go, but it's funny that people look at us like, I look at you and I'm like, I agree with this brother in way many more places than I disagree with him. So the brother gonna always be my brother. And it seemed like people were waiting and keep wanting us to just be like, yo, fuck that nigga.
Go to war.
Why is this the prevalent view of, and I know you've explained it a little bit, but why is this the prevalent view of the men? The men want to see other men fighting. Like we're like men are like bitches. Like they like bitches sitting around waving a fan, wanting to see 2 niggas fight over them.
It's homoerotic behavior. You see, you don't have to penetrate another man in order for you to be a homosexual. Let's go to the Bible. This is one of the things I agree with. As a man thinketh, so shall he be. So if you are on the block and a group of men walk by and you get this inclination to sexually, I won't say sexually, you get this inclination to dominate another man. Meaning, if that man doesn't recognize your presence on the block, you're gonna make him recognize that you was there. That's homosexual behavior. That's what it is. And you want to physically engage this man, get hot and sweaty, and touch on his body, just to prove to him he needs to acknowledge that you were there before he started walking on that block. He should have looked at you. He should have put his head down. He should have made it clear that he's feeling you as a thug, so that way he can let you pass. And if that other man doesn't demean himself and chooses not to confide in that kind of behavior, then he has to be violently aggressed by this homosexual behavior. So again, you don't have to. And people may say, well, get hot and sweaty and fight. Yeah, fighting is fucking homosexual too. Fuck that. It's fucking gay.
Well, think about it this way. Let me ask you something.
And hold on, I'm gonna keep it real with these people. Oh, so you think fighting the white man's gay? Fighting for your life is not homosexual. But the concept in itself is homosexual. And I'm gonna tell you why. Take it from a man who stays around nothing but women almost all the damn time. I'd kill myself if there was no women on planet Earth. This is a fact. And if you really think about it as a man, you know most of everything we do is because of women. Whether it's fighting, the woman is somewhere there in the background. Why it probably popped off in the first place. Why we dressing up in nice clothes, why we want to drive nice cars, why we want to have a lot of money, why we probably want a big house. Because I'm going to tell you this, and my wives know me well. It's because of them why I do all this fancy shit. Because I don't care. I stay in a fucking cardboard box. I can live normal. I don't need no TV. I don't watch this shit. I read. They watch TV. I don't fuck with TV like that. I really don't. Just looking at this screen, seeing me here, making me upset because I'm watching the screen. I be reading. That's what I do. I read. I study. I like my free time at the beach. I like to watch the sunrise, the solar gaze, or the sunset. That's the stuff that I'm into. I like to be around nothing but trees. I do breathing exercises. I meditate. I pray. I contemplate. I introspect. I can live a perfectly normal life. People don't even know that about me. But women like all this other shit, so put on the goddamn chain. Because I'm not about to be womanless. If they like that shit, then I like it. If they like it, I love it, in fact. So, I ain't mad at it. I'm just telling you, if it was up to me, I'd be living a whole lot more simpler. Now, people may say, well, then you're a slave to the women. You need to take them into the... No. Women are women. Men are men. Some of my wives are way more spiritual. Some of my wives way more material. And that's what makes me so very diversified mentally. I love it. I love women. I love every type of freaking female there is in the Black community that is beautiful under my standard and intelligent under my standard. So I'm telling you this. You gotta do what you gotta do as men. Find somebody that makes sense alongside you. Hold each other and work very hard to keep each other, because we are in the last days of Black people's insanity. And I believe personally that many more Black people have to die in larger amounts for us to come to our senses. So all I'm doing is sitting here laying in wait. I'm gonna say everything I'm supposed to say to teach. But I can't shake the feeling that an unprecedented amount of Blacks have to die before Black people really, of all tax brackets, connect and start saying, man, you know, it's starting to get so real that they all start, Black people are starting to wake up. You know, every time a Black man gets killed, you know, these celebrities and them, they're a little more conscious. But if another man don't die within another 48 to 72
they go right back.
You ain't gonna go back to their nigga affairs. I'm telling you that right now.
No, they go right back. And it's funny that you would bring that up, because I was talking about that, this homosexuality amongst Black men. There are dudes on YouTube. There's one who has a video that says, ladies who follow Tommy are Black bitches. And what he was saying was, he's tired of you. Every time I look at Tommy's video, there's a different woman in his house. Why are y'all stupid enough to keep going to see him? Why? And I was like, what kind of man is saying this shit? Another one stood up there and said he had reached out to you. He said that the reason why we canceled the first debate was because he had came to New York, was because he was going to kick my ass. Some guy named, and he was literally, he knows every girl that's ever fucked me or been around me. And all they do is talk about, yo, y'all over there sucking Tommy's dick, and y'all got his dick in your asshole. And I was like, why do these grown ass Black men talk so homosexual?
I'm going to tell you this. This is the reason. The number one anti-homosexuals in the Black community are homosexuals themselves. I'm telling you.
I believe it.
I'm telling you. Because when people disrespect me, the gay stuff that comes out their mouth has me like, yo, seriously, when I get upset at brothers, I don't think of violent homosexual acts, you know, and I have to express this and impregnate other people's minds with this debauchery. I just say, man, the hell with you.
Right.
Man, I don't go say, suck my joint, man. Or yo, you got the white man in your yo, what that nigga getting off when he thinks like that.
Thank you.
You know, here it goes. A black man does something I don't like. So, hey, let's start envisioning penis go violently into someone's butt. Like, who does that? Who sits here and says, hey, guys, I'm mad at this person. Let's start randomly thinking of homosexual occurrences and situations. You know, like, who does this?
There was a dude did a 30-minute rant on me online, and he said, I can't wait. I didn't know what it meant. He said, I can't wait to see Tommy go to jail so somebody can fuck him from behind and hold his ears and be doing him like this. And I was like, who does this?
It is like, yo, the number one anti-homosexual brothers and sisters in the community are homosexuals themselves. You know, if I see a brother do too many videos against homosexuals, I'm done. I already know how I feel about the situation. And there's a bunch of them online. Every time they come and talk, they gotta say something against homosexuals. I'm like, yo, fam, like really, seriously. I mean, I don't want to think about it that long. So how is it that you know, look at the Hebrew, who like teachers are homosexual. Look at the Hebrew. Look at him getting off. You tell the man out of the whole community, find a man that you see with more women than you see me with. Find one. That's the fucking challenge in America right now. Find one in the motherfucking conscious community you see.
I was about to say, I'm gonna throw my card in it. I'm gonna throw my belt in it.
we can mess our shit up. Let's put it out there.
I think that's why a lot of men don't like us. If you think about it, and I think that's where we get along at though, because like I said to them, no matter how much I say women do X, Y, and Z, I'd rather be around them than you hard legs. I just would.
All I gotta say is, when you join these black organizations, there is a shortage of vajayjin. That's all I'm gonna say. And you wonder why you're struggling. If I was to try to join, name me a Hebrew Israelite community that's known for having women. Name me one. I'll wait. Go ahead, Hebrew. Write it. We're waiting. I'm stuck. We're waiting. Name, there you go, comics. Name a Hebrew Israelite community that is known for having women. I'll wait.
Because the thing is, and I don't know why they don't see it, if you're a strong man and you have your convictions, women will follow you even if you're saying something that they don't like.
I know one thing, though. I can name you a bunch of them that curse out women, but I can't name you any of them that I know are known for women. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we keep them in the household. We don't show them. Stop fronting, my nigga. At some point or the other, people got to see you with a female at one point or the other. If your leader is not seen with a woman ever, that's a problem, because that's a psychosis that you're spreading in the community. Part of the healing factor and part of the education is also by way of demonstration. I cannot look at a black man that I say I follow and see him over and over again without a woman, because I will aspire to be like him. And by default, I won't have a problem being void of a woman. Instead, I will turn the doctrine into, see, these women don't want to listen. They don't want the word of the Most High. They don't want to follow Yahweh ben Yahweh Shah. Because you see, the white man has her mind. And you're going to talk all that shit. But if you ain't busting no nut, my nigga, you backed up and you're out of control, you're flustered, and you're picking on men because you don't have a woman to calm your ass down.
Yep.
Because you see, before I can get into any drama, the women in my world be like, yo, hold on. And then I'd be like, you know what? I can deal with officer such and such of the Hebrew Israelite community, or I can use both these hands and use them for incredible things.
Right.
Why would I be over here opting out of dealing with a woman to go deal with these crazies? So I'd be like, I'll see you later. Shalom, Ak. And that's what I'm going to tell you out there. Because as we talk about this homosexuality and why men feel the necessity to talk about homosexuality, Look at this. Polight, you're wrong. Maccabees TV did a special on Israelite wives. Oh, they did a special. Yo, guys, we need to start showing. I seen the special. There's nothing special about that shit. I watched it. You're a devil. Ill posted. Shaking my head. But hey, Hebrew, you're the one who had to come up with homosexual conversation. As we were speaking about it, Tommy, that Hebrew that just wrote, hey, there's a group that did a special on women.
Well, that's what it is. Like, you look, that's why a lot of them dudes hate me. They say this nigga say all the shit he say about black women, and he's constantly not only surrounded by black women, but fine black women. It pisses them off. You know,
there's a scarcity of women when a nigga asks, yo, name me a group that's known to have women, and a nigga tell you, well, we did a special. Yo, when you say, yo, name me a group that's known to have women, and the nigga tell you about a special that they did. Do you know what a special means?
Yep.
This means like, you ain't gonna see this often. But goddamn it, today, we'll say some shit you never seen before.
Right.
3 of these sisters over here, they're Hebrews. Come on, man, stop this bullshit.
Right.
Y'all start that. I ain't start this. This grown man that's a Hebrew had to say some homosexual stuff because he, for some reason, is angry with me. And that's what we was talking about.
Yep.
Why you gotta start the homosexual talk? Because you're angry. And you got your God's name inside of your screen name.
While you're speaking that way. And listen, there's a lot of things I can say to a man. Inviting him to my penis or my anus are not any of them that would be the first. I would have had to run out of disses by the time he got there. By the time he got to that, I would have run out of disses. My book is empty. I didn't write no more jokes. Motherfucking Kevin Hart is not available. So that must have been all I had left. I think it's ridiculous, but it's way too common that these men's first words out of their mouth is something not only homosexual, but descriptively homosexual.
Descriptively. But I'm going to tell you this. Yes, I worship women, because that was the next conversation. What's up, man? Yes, I worship men. I worship them women. I do. Every minute of the damn day. And you know what? I know worship means to highly revere, to have a great deal of adoration for or respect. I'm with it. But you can call it what you want to call it. You can make me any form of worshiper you want. I know something that you don't know, apparently. And that is that interaction, that intimate interaction, whether it's in the form of just conventional lovemaking, whether it's, you can hear this. Man, once you come out of something like that, once you see those twerk videos is one thing, but if someone does that while you in there, so nigga, lighten up on that slandering those women and twerking. Because I'm gonna tell you something. When someone performs those same twerking expertise while I'm in them, I have to lighten up on my condemnation of the twerk.
Yeah, but I fucked a lot of them and they never do that when they get in the bed. Excuse me. I forgot my language. I've done it a lot to them. That's why a lot of brothers get mad because they like, this nigga talk all about these twerkers and the next day, you know, he in one. Cause I mean, I'm a man. I like what I mean, I like watching it. I ain't gonna lie, but I know there's a time and a place. That's all. There's a time and a place for everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, no, I let them know is a time and a place for it. And there's a certain person you are not going to procreate with. I ain't procreating with the chick with 12 million Instagram followers because she twerk all day. It ain't happening. But I will beat her down in a match if I come to her town. Now, it is what it is. But it's funny that we as men cannot say the two exist in the same space. Brothers got mad because there's this woman and they all was over there. This one dude went to this girl's Instagram page. She's a stripper. And she came out to my house and interviewed me and stuff like that. And they got mad because they saw her laying up with me. And they was like, he went to her page now, black man, went to her page and said, he hates black men, black women. And I'm so disappointed to see you laid up with him. I'm going to have to unfollow you. Black queens shouldn't subject themselves to men like this. And I said, hold on, bro. You going to unfollow this stripper who is on every one of her photos shaking her butts. Not because she shake her butt, but because you saw her with me. And you a grown man that came to tell this woman this. At no point in time would you give me the kudos because you follow her. So you know you wish you could sleep with her. So you looking at me and saying, you should say, man, this dude lucky because he did something I follow this bitch all day and I would like to be with her. He's actually with her. Instead of saying, that's pretty damn cool for a coon, you turn around and go to the woman and say, well, I'm going to condemn your behavior now. And we have to ask ourselves, why are these men doing the actions that they're doing? We're always trying to fight each other. I say when I'm with a woman, I have no reason. All these dudes on the internet like, if you come to my city, I'm gonna fight you. Well, because I bust nuts constantly, I'm not trying to physically fight a dude. I like my life, and I'm not trying to end it over an internet argument. Do you think a lot of brothers are backed up, and that's why they doing this crap?
Yeah, a lot of men are backed up. That's where all the aggression is, particularly in the conscious community. I don't believe the brothers in the conscious community and many of the sisters are having enough sex. I believe this. I believe it's one of the community. There's a shortage of sexual exchange taking place in the community. And I believe that's why people are so frustrated. And the second you start being free and expressive about enjoying the sexual act, people get, hey, hold on. And that's why I told my Hebrew brothers that's still talking reckless online, I don't know why you keep following me. I'll see it all the time. If I know a TV show's coming on that I don't like, I don't rush to change the channel at that hour when the show that I hate and I loathe is about to come on. Amongst many other shows that I love. I'm not gonna run and say, hey, it's 8 o'clock. That shit I hate is about to come on. I don't do this. You people are very weird. But since you're here, let's antagonize you. This is what you're here for, right? You're listening to every word I say.
Because let me tell you how the first time I heard about you was somebody came to me and was like, yo, this nigga got all these wives. You need to check him out. You need to ether him. I said, I need to emulate this nigga. Like, I had no problem with going and saying, I look up this dude. So the first words out of my mouth about you was, hey, this nigga got a point. He seemed like he know what he doing. And why would I not want to emulate a man that seems, because again, I don't want to be able to control a bunch of men around me. How does that even look? I'm the leader of all these men. I'd rather emulate somebody that say, I'm the leader of all these women. Holla at your boy. That makes sense. I want to be like him. Why I want to hang out with, I'm the leader of a bunch of men, and my next door neighbor's a leader of a bunch of men. We have a barbecue and a swim party, and it's just a bunch of niggas in the pool.
Damn.
That's where that homosexuality come from. Again, if you backed up and all you see is men around you.
And that's why I told my brothers that was on the corner before with their plastic bucket cursing out the white man. Some woman walked by and he said, you see, she's dressed like the harlot. And I'm like, I'll communicate with that sister for you know, she could be a good sister and she may not dress to the standard that you like.
Right.
Like call her out her name and you don't know her from spare one. I don't believe God wants you to go around converting people in that manner. I don't think it's gonna work that way. You know? So yeah, but we see, you like what you see, huh? Brother Polight like that, don't you? Huh? Look at it. And I'm like, she look good. We turn our heads when we see stuff like that. And like, and that's where the problem is. And that's why you guys got a lot of bass in your voice. I don't know lie. Lots of bass. Chest protruding and all. Plastic spikes, door knockers on their chest. Salute. You guys will be on the front line when it's time to fight something because you're so sexually frustrated. I can imagine you ready to kill somebody. Me, on the other hand, I'll probably be 10th tier down the line. So I'll be eating something up before we go to war. Just to make sure I'm safe. I'll probably be designing the war strategy for you guys because you guys are only good for one thing at this particular point in time. Because once you wage war against these women to the point where if she looks good, I gotta feel guilty for even looking. This is insane. Like to force a man to be in a doctrine where you can't appreciate the beauty or celebrate the beauty of another sister.
Yeah, but we got to check the women too. We got to check the women too, because on the other side, the women will say, if you do check the beauty of them, like if you just go and say, oh, that looks nice. And then she does something stupid and you say something about it. She say, oh, you niggas was thirsty. You said that I look good in this other picture. Like the two can't exist in the same space. You did look good in picture number one, but when you was choking your child in picture number two, I felt that was inappropriate.
I just do my perusal for Black women in different areas. You know, that's what it is. If we go to a ratchet area, chances are we're gonna find some ratchet shit. You know, fortunate for me, I do lectures, I get to teach, I get to meet some of the most beautiful and qualified potential mothers on the planet everywhere I go. And so my perspective of Black women is very unconventional and probably very unrealistic to a lot of Black men. And I totally understand it. I never disagree with them because I understand when I was in different environments and amongst different people, I've seen the worst of our women in very consistent fashion. I've been blessed to have a personality that creates a situation for me where, based on my honesty as far as how I feel about women and my criteria being written all over the place and spoken of, I'm blessed to be confronted with a lot of powerful sisters, and thus it enhanced my appreciation for Black women, and it gives me promise that a lot of them are doing a lot better than I initially believed. But then at the same rate, it depends on where I go. Because if I want to find some ratchet trouble, I can find it, and then I can be convinced that it's the other way around. So I'm with it. I appreciate the people here. The Hebrews are still putting homosexual stuff in the chat room.
Oh, they said that you and I are trying not to offend each other, and that's the problem with fools having a conversation. So I guess the fact that we are like, look, if there was something that came up that we disagreed on, we talk about that, and maybe that discussion will come up at a certain point in time. But to think that when two brothers see each other, their job is to try and find places to be upset with each other, where y'all getting that from? Like, I would rather get along with a brother than sit around and be in a violent mode or in a, I don't understand what they're expecting. What were they wanting here? What were you trying to get out of this? We didn't pre-plan this. This was a let's start talking. We had no idea what we were going to talk about, and we kind of went away with what I wanted to address. But at the end of the day, some people got something, some people didn't. If you didn't, why the fuck are you still here?
Yo, listen, I'm here. I be coming in peace. I ain't got no business having no problem with no Black men. I done veered away from like 5 opportunities to have some drama with some Negroes because of something they said about me recently. And I told my brother, I ain't got no time for that. You know why? Because if I expend any energy speaking, I would like to say something positive or something uplifting. Because the time I'm taking away from being with my lovely wives, with my beautiful children, or even just edifying myself through study, or even getting rest maybe. Like, you know, why would I just really start considering at my age, I don't need to indulge in too much of that chaos. So I come here and I'm telling you, I come here with no defenses. I don't expect nothing negative. My mind is positive, and I expect to issue you nothing but respect. And I know people are pissed off with me. Why are you being so nice to that brother? Didn't that brother have that issue with that sister on the highway and all? Listen, this is about healing. If we can keep a respectable conversation with each other, then when he disagrees with me and I disagree with him, at least we can have enough attention span for each other in the form of respect to hear each other out. And maybe if we do disagree with each other, with the respect that we have issued to each other,
thank you.
There's a likeliness of understanding that will take place and ultimately create a better good or change for us. And that's what you need amongst Black men, camaraderie.
Yep.
Yeah, we have what we disagree on, but damn it, we agree with so much shit. I mean, how much times do you want the same 2 people to debate? What the fuck do you want? You know what I'm saying?
Like somebody said, Brother Polight got it right, but Tommy be smashing whores. Like, how do you know who I'm smashing? And why do y'all keep talking about smashing? Y'all grown men worried about where my penis is. Like you own my penis and it's a coal mine worker and you trying to make sure it go down and get all the gold and bring it back up. Like, I'm not understanding who you care about, who I sleep with, or how do you know that these women are whores or not?
Facts.
These people call my girlfriend of 2 years a Russian prostitute and keep saying it. Like they didn't care. It didn't matter. And I'm like, it seems like you're just upset. I like when they say I buy pussy. I'm like, well, you just mad because I can afford it. That, I mean, don't get mad at me because I buy a nice car. I can afford that. Don't get mad at whatever it is. If you believe I'm buying women, doesn't that go against your argument if I'm gay?
That's a fact.
But these things are weird because these shouldn't be arguments that grown men are having amongst each other. When there's a problem that's on the table, when can you not put down your guns or point while they're pointing at each other? There should be a time when you point them in the direction of the people who are about trying to shoot you now. But black men cannot put their guns down from pointing at each other. And I like what you said, which is if we can build enough camaraderie at the beginning, when we have disagreements, maybe we will know each other enough to where we don't let that disagreement end any kind of building that could have happened.
I mean, unless ultimately they just want us to attack each other, which goes back to what I'm saying. The most common thought that a lot of the degenerates of our race have is, hey, if you disagree, just destroy.
Yep.
No patience for building and opportunities to establish something more cohesive so we can do something more powerful. So no, I'm not gonna tear the brother down to appeal to people I don't know, who not even gonna patronize me, but give me a thumbs up on the video in hopes that I can continue causing mass destruction until I kill myself or set myself up.
Yep. Hey man, I know you got a lot to do today. I tell you what, when you get some time, what we'll do is come back and do this again, but we'll just answer phone calls from people just to hear what they got to say. And I do want to address eventually, if we can get a chance, I'm about to talk to brother Tahuti Ma'at Ra about this same subject, but I would like to be able to talk to you about what would be the next step that blacks need to do if we really believe that these cops are out here hunting us down. Well, what should we do instead of going to, again, the devil to be benevolent? Because I'm tired of asking the white man to not shoot me. I think that is the most weakest standpoint that black men can ever have, to sit up there and say, hands up, don't shoot the fuck. Yeah.
I be seeing those posts online. I'd be so embarrassed that this is coming from people of my race. It's the weakest thing you can ask for something. Please stop killing us. You're asking the person who's violently shooting us to please stop shooting. Yeah, that should work. That should work. You know, because now we're treating them like they're our parents.
Yep.
And hopefully our parents can spare us and don't give us a beating for something that we did that's wrong. See, I don't like the whole psychology around that.
Yep.
You know, I got some things that I would like to say we should do, but unfortunately that belongs in private venues with trusted people who will put in pain. Because I'm just at a point where I just know pain got to be put in. I don't even know what else to say at this point. But you see, these people want the leaders, they want the scientists to be on the front line and get extracted out of society. They want the thinkers, because the thinkers are normally the bold motherfuckers who wind up getting into all the shit. I'm the one doing the protests around army tanks. I'm on C-SPAN with snipers on the building, with turning lethal shots. Like, yo, I'm standing there saying to myself, man, no, my wife is right. These guys are ours talk ourselves into some shit, and they won't even show the hell up when they look around the corner. Meanwhile, I got all these army tanks. When I'm going in, I'm in the zone. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. When I'm out there, I'm just like, it's on and pop. You know, I'm on TV, and they trying to mangle my words and turn me into the terrorists and the leaders of the Panthers. I'm like, bring it on. Come on. You know what I'm saying? And then who do I have when I come back home? Just my children and my wives, because all them online supporters, now, a lot of them don't show their face, but they gas you up to do something incredibly crazy, or ridiculous, or compromising, or incriminating, in the name of not looking like a cool.
Thank you.
So with that said and done, I gotta actually jump on another interview.
Go ahead, handle your business. I'm getting ready to do 1, 2. We're gonna get back together and do this, and just for the people to know, yeah, we're gonna still make this thing happen. Brother Polight want one of these belts. He see him back here glistening and gleaming.
Oh yeah, we coming for it. I got some of my own, so we got to put some up.
All right, let's do it then.
When it leaves with 8, if you got the heart to put up 4, I want you to bring them to the event.
I will bring them and let you walk out with them if you win them. But I think the goal will be back home. I even got one that's spinning. That one right there.
I just got to check the belt size. I give them to my wives. Make sure the belt sizes are right. I'm gonna bring my homie from the cleaner so he can hook it up, no matter what size they are.
Brother Polight, these right here, these belts here, these big boy belts. These the big ones. These what they wear. These was sent from the WWF. These ain't no punk belts. These motherfuckers like 5 pounds. These the real thing. You gonna need help carrying this belt out of there.
Hey man, I'm good with this belt right here.
these championship belts right here, man, that's a player belt. That's these two different kinds of belts. This is the one you want when you don't have a bunch of wives. You just want to show off the belts.
Yeah, man. But yo, I'm down. I'm definitely down. Let's come up with that date. I think we probably got to do it for 2017.
Yeah.
Because when we talked about that last date, I just realized we had a few weeks into that date.
Yeah, we ain't got time to do that, and then we'll be dealing with like the cold months. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm figuring like with you 2017, and we'll make it work though.
We're gonna definitely make it work, and it's gonna be super dope.
It's gonna be crazy too.
Unfortunately, we won't be killing each other, so I hate to disappoint our viewers. Yeah, I plan on no fatalities taking place. Well, we'll definitely be entertaining because both of us got incredible personalities, and we're uncompromising when it comes to what we stand on.
Yep.
So you can feel that. You just gotta appreciate the fact that we're sane enough. We're not so consumed by our own thoughts and appreciation of ourselves that we can't acknowledge brilliance in the mind and the heart of another fellow black man.
Amen.
This is where the education comes in. How to disagree with people on one day and how to appreciate them for many more to come.
Right.
Grow up, people. Grow up. Come on, a lot of y'all older than me.
Exactly. We got to grow up at some point in time. And I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. I'd like to thank everybody, especially the niggas that don't like us, for coming. I don't know if we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So you can give yourself a round of applause and bow. Let's talk a little bit later. You go and enjoy yourself, and you guys get ready for myself and brother Tahuti Ma'at in about 30 minutes. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for a great show.
Peace. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, fuck you. We'll be doing another show in 30 minutes with Tahuti Ma'at, and I didn't even get a chance to tell him something, which was funny, because what he's saying is exactly what happened to the young lady. I know we're cool, but y'all remember Princella when she came onto the show, the people who moderate the chat room found out that even though she was telling me all this great stuff about me when we was on air, they was like, she called you a coon and said you were a fag and all this. And I was like, no, you did not. And I'm reading it, and it was like only like 3 days prior to when she came on my show, when she was saying, thank you for having me on. I was like, she called me all that shit. And she was like, well, I called you that because I saw one video. I was like, so one video made you say all of that bad stuff about me? How is this possible? And that's what I always wonder. Like, people get mad at me because I'm able to criticize anyone. But at the same time, I'm not going to criticize them and say everything they do is wrong because of this thing. And I think that's the biggest thing we need to get out of as black people. You will like someone and then boom, they do one thing you don't like and they're horrible. And you call them every demeaning, disrespectful name in the book because of the one thing they did. Now, if the one thing they did is really disgusting, right, go right ahead. But usually we act this way towards people on disagreements. That's a problem. Somebody asked, how do you get in touch with Brother Polight? You can get in touch with him on Twitter. You can get in touch with him on Instagram. I ain't giving out people's phone numbers at all. Somebody said I got 1 thumbs down already on the next one. For the guys who are looking for the next one, I'll put the link to the one with me and Tahuti in the description box. It's already people over there talking. That's pretty cool. I couldn't do any of this stuff without you guys. You guys are very supportive. Again, it starts in 30 minutes. The link is in the description box as well for people to come see. Hopefully we'll be able, because I know one thing I do know is me and Brother Polight didn't stay on topic at all. Like, we were talking about everything, but I tried to steer it, but I wanted to give him the floor too. But I tried to steer it towards the topic. We just seem to get out of the topic, so it is what it is. But we'll be all right. The belts is always going to be safe, y'all. Make sure you tune in to the show. Starts in 30 minutes. Thank you, guys. Hit that donate button. Go check out the one-on-one I did last night with Paige Kennedy if you didn't see it. I'm running my voice ragged, but I do it for you. And to that Miss, whatever her name is, quit lying, talking crap in my chat room. Get the hell out and quit stalking me. Get paid for it or quit it. I'm out.